So in 2019, there was this movie that came out called Ready or Not. It was a horror survival comedy, and it was a surprise hit. So it's no surprise that we should get a sequel, although a bit of a surprise that it took so long to finally get Ready or Not 2 in theaters, which is here this weekend. Is it any good? Does it live up to the legacy of the first movie? Hey everybody, I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy, and today let's talk about Ready or Not 2. Here I come.
The heads of the council families will try to kill you and your sister. Whoever does wins the high seat and controls everything.
Everything?
The world.
The game will begin
They're coming! They're coming! Oh my God!
in 5, 4, 3, 2. Do you have any questions?
Can I have a cigarette?
In the first Ready or Not, if you don't remember, Samara Weaving plays Grace. She is a woman who has just been married into this wealthy family and she's really excited to meet the in-laws. That is until she realizes that the in-laws are all devil worshippers and she's really only been invited in so they can play a game of hide and seek with her. Basically, she's gonna hide, and if the in-laws catch her, they're gonna kill her. This movie starts immediately after the events of the first movie, with Grace waking up and finding out that a new set of devil-worshipping rich folks have assembled. And just to make it more interesting, they've invited her estranged sister, played by Katherine Newton, to join in the game. So like I said, this movie starts immediately after the events of the first Ready or Not, and quite frankly, the story, I'm not going to give you too many details on it. There are a few twists, but for the most part, it's the exact same story. Now, when you make a sequel, you kind of want to go through the events of the first movie and just make them a little bigger. So we get that. It's a bigger location. It's two sisters instead. It's pretty much the same story here. I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish they had given it a little more stuff. I mean, we could have advanced the world. We have the idea that these rich families are controlling the world, and whoever kills the sisters is going to control everything. Well, show us a little bit more of that instead of just getting straight to the hunt. Now, that being said, I do think that Samara Weaving and Katherine Newton are pretty good as our Scream Queen final girls. They are good at running, they're good at looking, getting bloodied, and then good at turning around and fighting back. I appreciated all of that. And the other big change this time around is obviously we get a new cast of rich Satan worshippers trying to kill these two women here. And they're a fun bunch here. They're most notably, I guess we'd say, is Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's leaning into her bad girl phase here. But also Sean Hatosy playing, basically he and Sarah Michelle are playing twins. But we also get David Cronenberg at the beginning. We get Nestor Carbonell as another one, Kevin Durand, Olivia Chang. I mean, it's a really nice supporting cast of actors here. And my favorite, Elijah Wood, playing basically the devil's lawyer. I just watched Lord of the Rings like 3 weeks ago. Can't believe that Frodo saved Middle-earth and then went on to work for Satan. But okay, there. It's a fun supporting cast here. I will say this though, the bad guys are all defined by like one characteristic. And I've often said that, your heroes are measured by the bad guys that they beat. And these are really one-note bad guys so that the heroes can only rise to a certain level. Now, this is a horror comedy, and I will say that the splatter stuff is pretty good and pretty fun. Some very funny moments here, some very gross and bloody moments here. That stuff all works. With a couple of exceptions here, I thought there was a couple of scenes where the horror and the comedy didn't quite mix quite as well as I hoped it would here. But for the most part, if you can separate them, I think you'll have a lot of fun at this movie. So this is directed by Matt Bernelli-Alpin and Tyler Gillette. They are known collectively as Radio Silence. They are the directing team behind the first Ready or Not movie, also Abigail, a movie that I kind of liked, and then, of course, two of the last three Scream movies and such. And I think they have a nice anarchic sense of humor about these things. I like their style. They're tongue-in-cheek. They're not taking horror too seriously. I appreciate that. I think they make very entertaining movies. I think this one actually works, particularly if you are a fan of the first movie. But that being said, is it better than the first one? No. It's kind of the same movie as the first one. And I think that's fine if you're a huge fan. But after 7 years, do you really remember what happened? Do you really remember why you were so invested in watching this woman kill off all these rich Satan worshipers? You can get back to it, but it just is so long ago. I think we've all moved on here. Still, I think the movie kind of works, especially if you're a fan. I think our two leading ladies are pretty good here. I wish the story had pushed for something more, and I wish that the villains had been a little more developed, but for all things considered, I think this one works well enough. I give Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, 2.5 stars out of 4. So I went and watched Ready or Not in preparation to going to see the sequel, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And you know what, honestly, that first movie still holds up pretty well, even though it was a long time ago. And I'm curious though, because I think this movie is not quite... So I went and watched Ready or Not, the original movie, right before I went to see the Ready or Not 2, Here I Come sequel. And honestly, that first movie still holds up very well, and I think I may actually like it a little bit more. But what did you think? Do you like the sequel or the old one better? They're different movies, kind of, but they're also kind of the same, so maybe you think they're about the same as well. Anyway, what do you think? Comment below. And of course, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you get my reviews just as soon as they come out, and check out the podcast. It's called Two Movie Guys. And every week, my buddy Joe Fryer and I get together and we review all of the week's big new movies. Just look for Two Movie Guys wherever you get your podcasts. So that's it for this weekend's batch of new movie releases. It's honestly kind of a slow time at the movies. Project Hail Mary is doing very well, but this one was not expected to do that well. And quite frankly, next week there are 2 new movies opening, but neither of them really look like they're going to set the world on fire. And that's because we have a new Mario movie coming out. Super Mario Galaxy movie is coming out in 10 days, and that's the one that's really going to take over theaters. But in the meantime, coming up next, we'll talk about a couple of smaller movies, including They Will Kill You and Forbidden Fruit. We'll see you then.